Are you having difficulties deciding which one of these two graphics cards to buy to play the latest games at 1080p in 2024? Then let's find out together. Is it better to get the 8GB RTX 4060 or the 8GB 4060 Ti? Because the price difference is quite significant. It is $100 in the US, and if you're here in the UK, then it's £80 difference. To test it out, I'm using my pre-built CyberPower PC, powered by MSI, equipped with the i7-14700KF CPU. To compare the two graphics cards, I will be using the RTX 4060 to play a game first, and then I'll swap it for the RTX 4060 Ti, and we'll see if the 4060 Ti provides a much better experience that is worth $100 extra. And we'll use these three games: Horizon Forbidden West, Helldivers 2 and Alan Wake 2. Let's start with the RTX 4060 in Horizon Forbidden West. I'm using very high quality preset, 1080p resolution, and frame generation is enabled for now, but I'll show you performance without it. This is just my favorite set of settings. I play this game like this, with frame generation, and I find it very enjoyable. As you can see, we are getting very nice 80 plus, 90 plus FPS experience, and the gameplay is very smooth. In front of me I have a 144Hz monitor, and it really makes a difference when FPS is higher. 60 FPS experience is nice and all, but you know what is even better? 90 FPS experience or 120 FPS experience. Now let's disable frame generation. In this game, if you are not using frame generation, make sure to turn off NVIDIA Reflex because it is not working correctly at the moment. The game is still not patched. It will mess up your frame time real bad. You'll have a stuttery experience. And right now, as you can see, the performance is pretty smooth. And even in this location, we're getting 50 plus FPS. Oh, 49, 48. Can I one-shot this dude? Yes. We're not quite getting that consistent 60 plus FPS experience using the RTX 4060 at native resolution in Horizon Forbidden West, using very high graphics preset. If you don't want to use NVIDIA frame generation or DLSS, then you will have to reduce the graphics preset to high if you want to get closer to that 60 FPS experience. And still, there will be some scenes where the FPS will drop just ever so slightly below 60. Oh, 54 just then. But now you see why I prefer playing this game using frame generation, because it looks great and the performance is much better than what you get even on the high graphics preset. However, there is one thing that you should be aware of if you are going to use frame generation and a very high graphics preset in this game, or some other games for that matter as well. Then take a look at this. The VRAM is currently at 7.1 gigabytes and RAM uses 13 gigabytes. Remember those numbers because they will be important. When we are out in the world doing missions, that is the performance that you are going to get. It is very consistent. Take a look at that frame time graph. It is nice and flat, and the performance is very smooth. However, if you are going to enter a certain area where there's a lot more textures and a lot more assets are required to be kept in memory, then take a look at this. We are almost at 16 gigabytes RAM usage and under 7 gigabytes VRAM. That is because some of the graphics assets have been moved to RAM instead of VRAM, and that causes some stutters here and there. So if you take a look at that frame time graph, you will see it, and you will definitely feel it when you're running around. The experience is not as smooth compared to the outdoors areas. However, I can't call this unplayable. It is fine. I can play it like this. When we are in the town, it is not an issue. You just do whatever you have to do and then move on to doing your missions, enjoying the game, enjoying smooth performance. But my point is that 8 GB of VRAM is simply not enough in 2024, and while this is not a huge problem in this particular game, it might become a bigger problem in some of the future games with much more prevalent stuttering and some assets and textures not loading in properly. You just have to keep in mind that if you are thinking about getting the RTX 4060 Ti 8 GB version to future-proof your PC build, then don't do it, because it will not be future-proof because of that 8 GB limitation. We've now swapped to the RTX 4060 Ti, and let's use the same graphics settings that I've so much enjoyed using the RTX 4060. So that's very high preset and native 1080p resolution, frame generation enabled. And using the 4060 Ti, we see well above 100 FPS. That is nice, I guess, but you know, having 80 to 90 FPS with the RTX 4060 doesn't feel that much worse. Yes, the gameplay is smoother, and the combat is smoother, and technically we are still not getting that 120 FPS experience. That would be like the next level. But let's disable frame generation and take a look at the proper native resolution performance. This is not bad at all. 80 FPS native, 70 plus over here. Yeah, I guess the 4060 Ti is the graphics card to use if you want to play at the highest graphics quality presets and have a consistent 60 plus FPS experience at 1080p native resolution, because the RTX 4060 was not able to achieve this. Although paying over $400 for a graphics card to have a native 1080p experience just feels kind of wrong. Is this the world we live in 2024? It appears so. This is HELLDIVERS 2, and we are back to the RTX 4060. I found that the following settings work the best with this graphics card: native render scale and graphics preset set to high. While FPS is above 80 right now, there will be some planets and scenes where it will drop to around 60 using the high graphics preset. So if you don't want to mess around with your graphics presets every time you switch to another planet, then just use high and enjoy the game. Boom. That splattered real nice. 80 plus FPS still, so you see what I mean, yeah? It's a pleasant experience, very nice. You will have a good time playing this game like this. Using the RTX 4060, no issues. 1080p, native, that is the kind of experience you can expect from the RTX 4060. However, I'll show you what the ultra quality preset feels like. Let's go. Yes. And on this particular planet, the FPS is over 60, so that's nice. But on some other planets, I've had issues keeping that FPS above 60 using ultra quality preset. Oh my god. This charger, it is highly maneuverable. Have you seen how he got me? Yeah. I need a bigger gun. Or an airstrike. Let's go. No, that will miss. But there you have it. The RTX 4060 delivers a great experience in HELLDIVERS 2 at high quality preset. Ultra, not so much. We are now using the RTX 4060 Ti in HELLDIVERS 2. And let's start with Ultra Graphics preset. And right away I can see that We are doing pretty well, even though this is not the most demanding scene in the game. Still, seeing 80 plus FPS, reaching 90 FPS, using ultra quality preset makes me think that this graphics card could definitely handle this game in any scenario, on any platform, 60 plus FPS experience. This is slightly better than playing this game with the RTX 4060 on high quality preset, but is it $100 worth of better? I don't think so. Oh my god, this stalker. Oh, it destroyed me. Let me get him. Boom. He's obliterated. Now I need to clear this. Oh. I need to run. I need to run far away. So yeah, there you have it. This is the kind of performance difference you can expect. Instead of playing this game using the RTX 4060 with the consistent 60 plus FPS experience at high quality preset, you can use the RTX 4060 Ti to have pretty much the same kind of 60 plus FPS experience, but on ultra quality preset instead. And just out of curiosity, let's enable high quality preset and have a look at the performance. Yeah, take a look at that. Close to 100 FPS. So, if you wanted to utilize your high refresh rate monitor with the 4060 Ti, you absolutely can do that even in this game. This is a pretty CPU demanding game, so it requires a fast CPU if you want higher FPS. I definitely don't feel like I'm getting $100 worth of extra pleasant gaming experience with this graphics card. We are back to the RTX 4060 in Alan Wake 2. This is one of the most graphically demanding games that is out right now, so I really wanted to check it out and see what kind of experience we can get. In my opinion, the best graphics settings to use is enable frame generation, keep render scale at 1080p, so that's native 1080p resolution, and use high graphics preset. Ray tracing is off for now, but we will have a look at that later on in the video. This kind of performance makes me very happy. 80 plus FPS indoors. Very nice. Smooth experience. That's all I want from a game. Let's go outside. Take a look at that. Still 80 plus. Nice. But if you want to see what kind of performance we will get in a forest area, then we should go over here into this little back alley. And even so, 70, 69, nice. 67 FPS is the lowest I've seen. Yeah, still, the performance is great. And this is pretty much close to the worst case scenario that you'll see in the game. Now let's take a look at how the performance will change if we use ray tracing preset set to medium, because high is a little bit too much to ask from this graphics card, and low just doesn't look good enough to use. And to make it work, we will have to use frame generation and DLSS set to quality. And just like that, we're still getting 70 plus FPS in this area here. So this is not bad at all. It is possible to play this game like that, but if you are going to use native 1080p resolution, then you will not have a good time. DLSS and frame generation is absolutely required if you want to run this game on the RTX 4060 with ray tracing enabled, because in areas like this one here, in the forest, unfortunately you will have to turn off ray tracing because you will not have a good time. Controls latency is increasing when the FPS drops, so yeah, it doesn't feel nice. And if you want native resolution, 1080p, no DLSS, no frame generation. Then if we keep graphics preset on high and turn off ray tracing, we won't get a great experience, because now the FPS is at 50, 40 something, and it will drop in the worst case scenarios. Remember that. This is not the most demanding area in the game. And even I suspect that this little forest area isn't either. We're getting 39 FPS just then. So there you go. It doesn't look good, it doesn't feel good. Just don't do it. Use frame generation. And even if we reduce graphics quality to medium, it will improve performance a little bit. So we are not getting dips below 40 now, but still, there was 42, 43 FPS just then. Yeah, it's still not great, even on medium graphics preset. And inside of the town, 50 plus FPS. It is playable. You might even enjoy it if you're okay with playing games with the 45 to 60 FPS range. Then this might be the experience for you. Personally, I prefer 50 to 70 FPS range, and since that 60 plus FPS experience is achievable with frame generation enabled, that's why I like enabling that feature in this game. And lastly, let's have a look at what the RTX 4060 Ti has to offer in one of the most graphically demanding games, Alan Wake 2. Let's start at native resolution, so no DLSS upscaling, frame generation enabled, graphics quality is set to high, and ray tracing is disabled for now, but we'll take a look at it later. Well, this is pretty good. Indoors the FPS is above 100, can't argue with that, it feels pretty nice. And once we get out to touch grass, we're still getting 114, 115 FPS. This is great. That just tells me that there is a lot of spare performance left for worst case scenarios. So let's go ahead and visit this area over here. There's always lower FPS in this area. And 80 something? That's pretty good. 90, 88, 87, so 87 is pretty much the lowest I've seen. Now let's see if we can get a playable experience without frame generation at native 1080p using high quality preset. And indeed, in this particular area, we're getting 70 FPS. Yeah, that's pretty good. And let's have a look at the worst case scenario. 54, 53, 52 FPS. This is fine. I mean, if the FPS drops to around 50 from time to time, it is not a big deal. What this tells me is that the RTX 4060 can play this game at native 1080p on medium graphics preset, while the 4060 Ti can deliver a good experience using high quality preset. And the last thing left to check is ray tracing performance. Let's select medium ray tracing. Let's keep graphics quality preset on high. Enable frame generation and DLSS quality. The FPS is beautiful, 90. This is very nice. And controls latency feels really good, very responsive. And even in this area, where the RTX 4060 did not provide a good experience using ray tracing, the RTX 4060 does pretty well. Yep, this is it. Feels good. In conclusion, while the RTX 4060 Ti clearly delivers better experience at 1080p, it is very difficult to recommend it purely because it is $100 more expensive. In my opinion, the RTX 4060 experience was good enough. I would just keep that $100 extra I would otherwise have spent on the 4060 Ti, and just spend it on something else, or maybe even keep it, and once the RTX 5060 comes out, just buy that, sell the RTX 4060, and, you know, get a new graphics card that would provide me with a much better experience next year when it comes out, according to rumors, of course. And the 5060 will certainly be better than the 4060 Ti. The only reason to choose the 4060 Ti instead of the 4060 is if you want to experience ray tracing. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Will you choose the RTX 4060 or the 4060 Ti, and why? If you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, then you can find them at my Amazon links in the description below. Check them out, that helps me out run this channel. And if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to reward it with a like and subscribe for more if you haven't already. It was I, Vadim. Until next time.